Welcome, everybody, back to Top of the Key. I am the president of the Las Vegas Aces, Nikki Fargas, and I am here today with Carolyn Peck and Krista Blanc. Thank you, ladies, for joining us.
Glad to be back.
I know.
Well, good. As we break for All-Star and Olympics, okay, we want to get your perspective on some of the mid-season awards. And I'm going to list out the awards we're going to be doling out, okay? So first off, sixth player of the year,
All right.
defensive player of the year, rookie of the year, coach of the year, and most valuable player. So start with sixth player of the year. Who are the reserve players making the biggest mark on their teams today?
My first pick, I'm looking at the Las Vegas Aces. I'm looking at Tiffany Hayes and what she's been able to do. 16 games now with the Aces, to only 2 starts for her. She comes in, immediate offense, but even more so, I think, immediate defense, and just that energy and just lifts the team.
Well, and you look at what Tiffany Hayes has done in the absence of Chelsea Gray, and just before Chelsea came back, she moved into the starting lineup. Now her rule changes, but her energy doesn't. When she comes in, I mean, she is instant energy, and when Becky Hammond needs to stop, she can call on Tiffany Hayes. But I'm also looking at Jordan Horston for the Seattle Storm. Now, Horston is a 6'2" guard, and she has moved into the starting lineup as of late in this first half of the season, but coming off the bench, she also brought that defensive presence, rebounding as well, attacking the basket, getting downhill, and I think that she could definitely be a candidate for Sixth Woman of the Year.
Oh, her length it definitely caused some problems for the Aces. They had to make some adjustments with the different rotations because her added length coming in with her quickness at 6'2", but she plays like a quick guard. She's definitely a problem for Seattle. And for me, I want to look at Ari McDonald, another player that's also shifted into the starting role at times. She's with the Los Angeles Sparks, and I know that the Sparks are still down a little bit as far as the standings go, but when she came in off the bench, really difficult matchup. There are not a lot of guards that have her quickness, and she can shoot it. She gets the hot hand.
That's true. Yeah. But when you look at, if you look at standings, I got to look at New York because Kayla Thornton and what she has done, yeah, they've got Stewie, Sloot, JJ, Sabrina, but I think the key for New York is what they get from their reserves. And Kayla Thornton is that 3 and D player. She's a player that can come in, shoot the 3. She can play the 3 or the 4. And it is whatever Sandy Brondello needs from her, she brings that. She's got this toughness about her. And I think that she's a big reason that New York's sitting at the top of the league.
I think you're absolutely right on that because you look at the talent that starts for that team. She could be a starter, though. She's the kind of player that has the kind of confidence. So you bring a player like that in off the bench, that's just gravy for your team. And she's a big factor for them.
Well, you guys just examined some great players in our league. But
we didn't
right
even
now,
mention all of them.
I know. We couldn't get to all of them. I mean, you could make a charge there for any one of these to win that honor. But right now, I want you to tell me who is your pick at this point in juncture in the season.
Tristan, I'll make you go first.
All right, if we go right now, I'm going Tiffany Hayes. And again, she can be a starter. She's been a starter. She's a veteran player. She's accepting whatever role they need. But I love the fact that she gives it at both ends. She is one of the hardest working players on the floor, and she can score you in double digits, and she can shut you down at the other end.
I'd have to agree with you with Tiffany Hayes. And again, it goes back to how she held it down when Chelsea Gray was out, and now what she's given to this team being back on the floor. And talk about Gary Payton defensively. I think that Tiffany Hayes brings that for the Aces.
All right, now let's shift to the defensive player of the year. Now, obviously,
that's tough.
Connecticut and New York are both among the best defensive teams in the league. And Minnesota and Seattle, they made some offseason moves that have them ranked in the top 3 defensively in the WNBA. And now with the addition of Chelsea Gray back to the Aces roster, now you're seeing us being back at full strength, and our defense is among the best in the league. But who are the individual players making a difference in 2024?
I think I'll start with Minnesota and Nafisa Collier. Nafisa has been having a phenomenal season, and the one thing that Cheryl Reeve talks about is that when your best player is your best defender, it makes the rest of your team really, really good. And Nafisa Collier's not only just blocking shots, but she's getting steals, deflections, and just her presence inside. And I think the energy that she brings for Minnesota has helped them to elevate their defense to another level.
Yeah, when we spoke with Cheryl Reeve, she said the first conversation she had with Nafisa Collier at the end of last year was, this is what I need from you. I need your defense to be better. And Fee said, okay, got you. And there's no doubt her numbers on the defensive end are definitely up. For me, I think I've got to go to, I'm going to go with Asia Wilson. I mean, she's back-to-back, but top almost top everything in so many of the defensive categories. When you think about players that you don't want to go up against, it's not all about numbers, and we'll maybe mention a couple of those players, but for Asia, it is about numbers, and it's also just looking out there and knowing that she's the one that's picking you up. I can't even imagine, so she's my pick.
For Seattle, Ezzie Magbagor does a terrific job. She was leading the league in blocked shots there for a while and may maintain that throughout the rest of the season, but her length, and she's a post player that doesn't have to just defend in the paint, but she also can on ball screens, which is so key in this league, being able to switch and guard a guard or be able to hedge hard and then recover back. I think Ezzie does a terrific job of that for Seattle.
Yeah, Ezzie's footwork is really impressive. She is quick, much quicker and deceptively quick for her size in that position.
Well, I love how you guys broke down and evaluated each of these players, but right now I need to know, who would you select as Defensive Player of the Year?
Oh, I would have to go with, and I know this is not going to be popular, but Napheesa Collier. And I think that Napheesa not only blocks shots and steals, how she has defended away from the basket, as well as battling with post players that are bigger than her. And her defensive efficiency right now, midway in the season, is top in the league. I'd have to go with Fee.
If she won it, I wouldn't be upset. But for me, until someone knocks her out of that spot, I'm giving it to A'ja Wilson because she's still bringing it like she did the season before and the season before that. So I'm still going with A'ja.
All right, well, let's move on to the top rookies in the year. Lots of talk about this year's class. Okay, I have a feeling who your top two will be. But let's talk about the rookies making an impact so far this season. Obviously, we know a lot of the impact that Caitlin Clark has brought to the Indiana Fever. We also know what Angel has done for Chicago. But who else would you want to have a conversation about?
Well, I thought at this point in the season we would also be talking about Cameron Brink, but unfortunately she went down with an ACL. But I think that it's been an opportunity for Rickea Jackson. And I thought that she would be a major rookie impact, and it took a while for Kurt Miller to get her on the floor because this is a versatile player that can play the 3 and the 4. And she's not afraid to mix it up, get in the paint, rebound, but she also can score it from the perimeter. She can handle it, she can rebound and bring it. I like Rickea Jackson, what she's done in her rookie season.
I do too, and I think that's a perfect example of making sure that a rookie gets on the right team or the right system. How do they fit? And when you look at an Angel Reese, this is a Chicago team that needed some scoring. They needed someone to come in. So she's getting opportunities that maybe an Alyssa Peely at Minnesota, because there's so many veterans ahead of her, isn't quite getting the same minutes. And I think that this rookie class, when you look at Rickea Jackson, when you had Cameron Brink, maybe wasn't getting the minutes. Now you can see what she's doing. Double digits, 4 boards a game. She's scoring in double figures. She can bring the ball up, like you said.
Camila Cardoso.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, when you look at what she can do at 6'7", and she can defend away from the basket, and then on the offensive side, she's like a ballerina. Her footwork is A'ja Wilson-esque in being able to control her body, handle it with double teams coming to her. I think Camila Cardoso's had a tremendous rookie season.
Okay, you got to make your selection. I want to know your Rookie of the Year. I'll start with you, Carolyn.
If you had to nail it down today, it's very close.
Today.
I mean, it's slim, it's very close. But I think that when you look at overall, I look at offensive rating and defensive rating, overall rating numbers there, win share in that category as well, I think the nod has to go to Angel Reese. Now, you can make the case for Caitlin Clark because Indiana's doing better. And their record shows they're higher, but both teams are in the playoffs. But I would give the nod to Angel Reese.
Yeah, my favorite rookie is Kate Martin, but I'm going to pick Angel Reese just from a numbers standpoint right now. But I'm not going to count Kate out. You never know what's going to happen. There's a lot of season left, but I think Angel, I'm with you. I'm not going to say Caitlin doesn't have a chance because they are, to me, they are neck and neck with how much they're doing for their teams. The question will be where will their numbers kind of even out and where the team's going to kind of finish up, I think.
When you look at these two players, it's not just numbers, but records that they are breaking. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are really setting the bar or moving the bar in the WNBA for rookies when they come into the league.
Now let's shift over to coaches who are making the biggest difference in their teams or with their teams this year. And then who are the contenders this year?
Well, I want to start first with Cheryl Reeve.
Yeah.
Because what she's done with Minnesota, number one, she's also the GM president, whatever other hats you can wear in Minnesota. But she's put this team together. They have very few returners, mainly Nafisa Collier, Kayla McBride. But the other players that she has brought in and how it is gelled, you can see a big difference in Minnesota this year. And the biggest thing that I see, not only talent on the floor, the chemistry.
Yes.
They like each other. And Cheryl Reeve is smiling on the sideline. She's having a good time coaching this team. Now, she's going to have to work her way through some injuries, but I think that how she has revived and put Minnesota back on track. I mean, that was a dynasty organization with the championships that they've won, and I think she's put them in the position to compete for one this year.
She's one of those, they're one of those teams because of her and the choices that they've made to make so many changes that you had a lot of question marks coming in. How will they gel? Well, they've done great, and she's done a phenomenal job. She's absolutely up there.
But, okay. Aces fans, don't worry, because I also think that you can make the case for Becky Hammon with weathering the storm when Chelsea Gray was out and keeping this team afloat. And now that Chelsea Gray is back, the Aces are playing at championship level. Once Chelsea gets her shot back, because right now the distribution and talking and getting this team together defensively, you can just look at the numbers itself of those first 12 games and what they've done since. Let me tell you, Becky Hammon has done a phenomenal job of keeping this ship afloat as they have now worked their way through the All-Star break and on into the second half of the season.
Well, and also adjusting to the changes, and that's big thanks really to Nikki and to Natalie Williams, the general manager of the Aces, bringing in some new players, and that's not easy to do. It's hard to bring somebody in, have to let them go. But you look at Tiffany Hayes, and you also had Kirsten Bell out for quite a bit of time as well. She was injured, and so the depth for the Aces this year, it's the best it's been since we've seen it several years. And I think what she's been able to do, being able to say, okay, I don't have to just play this 5-6 player rotation. I've got people I can go to. They're putting up some points off the bench.
Any other coaches in the hunt?
Yeah, I think we have to put Sandy Brondello out there for New York. Although they have a lot of their players back, they had some change. They had a couple of starters and they've had some injuries. And so that's not always easy to keep that many superstars happy and playing on the same page. And so I think they're the top of the league. They're the team everybody's chasing right now. And a lot of it has to do with Sandy making the adjustments she's had to make.
When I look at Coach of the Year, I'm looking at how teams progress or evolve throughout the season. And New York got out to a slow start. And again, getting some players back from injury. But chemistry-wise, new system, the adjustments she's making, because I'm sure after the finals and losing to the Aces, she had to address some things. And one of, I think, is just a toughness and a gut check. And you see that now. The defense of New York has gotten considerably better in the last half of this first half of the season. And I think Sandy's done a great job with New York defensively.
All right. I need to know your selection, Coach of the Year. Drum roll. Let's go, Krista. What do you got?
I think right now I got to go Cheryl Reeve. I know there's a lot of season left, and I know without Fee, it's changed their season just a little bit. I'm going to go with Cheryl, though. I think she made incredible moves, and she really completely changed that team.
I'm going to look into the future and what the Aces are going to continue to do. And so for you fans at home, I'm going Becky Hammon, Coach of the Year.
Wow, that was so profound of you.
Hey, you got folks at home a little nervous when
I
we
know.
start picking other. You have to have an opinion or an analyst that's unbiased. But I think, though, when you look at what Becky's done with this team and how she had to shift players around in the absence of Chelsea and now working Chelsea back and things go back to the standard that they set in the last two seasons.
Well, and the mental part, this team was at 500, teetering on being below 500 many times. How do you keep a team mentally in it and not worried about it and stay at 500 and then get above 500? And she was able to do that.
Most valuable player.
This is a bit short for me.
Well, I doubt it very seriously if Asia Wilson will be receiving any fourth place votes. And we do need to make that public, by the way. Yes. But Asia is the leading contender for her third MVP. But who else has a shot?
Oh, see, you threw a curveball. I was all ready for Asia. I think that it is Asia Wilson, hands down. But I think that Nafisa Collier, again, with Minnesota and what she's done, playing on both sides of the ball, she has suffered a little bit of injury in the latter part of this first half of the season. But right now, where she has Minnesota, I think that there would be easy to make a case for Fee.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Fee's probably my next closest to Asia. When I look at New York and I see Stewie, I see Jonquil Jones, I see Sabrina, for me, they kind of canceled themselves out because it isn't just one that's sort of above. I feel like the Aces have a great balance, but Asia's just a bit above everybody else. But I think Fee would be my closest, and Asia is my A1 choice.
But if we could go back to, you know, I don't want to be...
Wait, did you get the A1 choice?
A1, you threw that in there. That was good. But when you go back to last season, I made the argument A'ja Wilson should have been MVP because it's the best player on the best team. And so when you look at New York, and yeah, you look at the balance, but didn't the Aces have balance last year? They got balance this year. You got 3 players that are averaging over 18 points a game.
Yeah.
But still, though, when you look at Wonder Woman and how she's playing this year, it is a whole nother level that just separates A'ja from everybody else.
Okay, so if we had to make a selection, I mean, are we all in favor of A'ja Wilson? Because that's what it sounds like right now.
I'm not going to say in favor. I'm just going to say that is the pick.
The pick. Okay,
That's
the pick.
it. That is the
Yeah,
pick.
I don't think there's a question. Again, we're only up to this point.
Yeah.
But as of this point, no one's touching what she's doing.
She had a streak of 3 games in a row where she had a total of 55 rebounds. I mean, come on. Who gets 20 rebounds in a ball game? No, that's A'ja Wilson.
A'ja Wilson.
Yeah.
A'ja Wilson does. Well, Carolyn, Krista, thank you guys again for this great discussion. But we will see everybody next week on Top of the Key.